People think a will reading is quiet, but mine felt like a storm waiting to break. I sat in the back, trying to breathe, trying to pretend I wasn't shaking. My name is Ethan Ward, and I was never the person anyone looked at twice. I worked, saved what I could, kept my head down, and hoped life would stop hitting me so hard. Grandpa Thomas was the only person who ever told me I mattered. Everyone else, my cousins Liam, Noah, and Grace, plus their mother, Aunt Victoria, acted like I was a stray they had to tolerate. They never missed a chance to remind me I came from nothing. So when we gathered in Mr. Hale's office after Grandpa died, I expected nothing but the usual disrespect. "Sit," Victoria ordered, like she owned the room. Liam smirked at me. Noah whispered something behind his hand, and Grace rolled her eyes like she couldn't believe I existed. I kept my head low. If they wanted to laugh at me, fine. I didn't want to fight. I just wanted the reading to be over so I could go home. Mr. Hale cleared his throat. "This won't take long," he said. "Your grandfather left a single statement and a full transfer document." His calm voice only made my chest tighter. I waited for him to say my cousins' names, maybe talk about how much each of them would get. They all leaned forward like lions ready to claim meat. "The entire estate, totaling $35 million, is granted to Ethan Ward." Mr. Hale said it like it was just another line on the page. But the room exploded. Liam shot out of his chair. "What?" Noah snapped, "That has to be wrong." Grace stared at me like I'd stolen her lungs. Victoria slammed her hand on the table. "This is ridiculous," Liam barked. "Grandpa wouldn't give him that kind of money." I tried to speak, but my throat locked. "I didn't know," I whispered. Grace pointed at me. "You don't even dress like someone who belongs in this family." Victoria glared at Mr. Hale. "Fix this. Check again. There must be an error." Mr. Hale only shook his head. "Your grandfather was very clear. Everything goes to Ethan." The silence that followed felt sharp enough to cut. I could feel their rage crawling toward me like heat from a fire. My hands trembled under the table. I didn't feel proud. I felt like prey. And every hungry eye in the room was on me. "Say something," Liam growled. My voice cracked. I didn't ask for this." Noah leaned close. "Then give it up." Grace hissed, "Yeah, hand it over if you didn't earn it." I swallowed hard. Grandpa made his choice. The words tasted like fear. I knew saying them would only make things worse, but they were the truth. Victoria stepped toward me. "You think you deserve this?" I forced myself to look up. "I never said that." She scoffed. "You're nothing but a burden." Her words hit harder than the others. Liam leaned in. "We're not letting you walk out of here with this." My pulse hammered. I didn't know what they were capable of now. Mr. Hale stepped between us. "That's enough. This meeting is over." My cousins glared at him, but they backed away. I stood on shaky legs. As I walked out the door, I didn't feel rich, I felt hunted. Their eyes followed me like shadows. In that moment I knew my life had just turned into something dangerous, and I wasn't ready for it. I stepped into the hallway, trying to steady my breath. "What do I do now?" I whispered to myself. The air felt heavy, like Grandpa's absence was pushing on me. I wished he were here to explain why he chose me. But I felt the warning he left settling in my bones. Before I even stepped out of Mr. Hale's office, Liam brushed up beside me with a smile that looked glued on. "Ethan, congrats, man," he said, voice tight. I forced a nod. His arm dropped across my shoulders, heavy and tense. His grip squeezed harder. "Seriously," he added, "good for you." Noah leaned in from the other side. "Yeah," he whispered, "good for someone who didn't deserve a cent." My stomach tightened. "What did you say?" I asked. He smiled wider. "I said congrats. Didn't you hear?" Grace clicked her tongue. "Grandpa must have been confused at the end," she said. "He loved you, sure, but 35 million? Come on." I tried to breathe, but their voices circled me like vultures. "Guys," I muttered, "I didn't choose this." Victoria walked up next, arms crossed like she was judging my existence. "Let's talk privately as a family," she said. "We don't need outsiders listening." Her tone sliced through me. I shook my head. "I'm just trying to leave." Liam tightened his grip again. "Relax," he whispered. "We're being nice." I pulled away. "You don't have to pretend." Noah laughed. "Pretend? Why would we do that?" Grace stepped closer. "Because you're sensitive?" Victoria's smile vanished. "We need to discuss how you'll handle the estate," she said. "You're young. You need guidance." "I'm fine," I said. "No," she snapped, "you're not." I stepped back toward the hallway. "I'm going home." Liam muttered, "This isn't over." Noah added, "Not by a long shot." Grace shrugged. "Whatever. Just don't act surprised when this blows up." I walked faster, pretending not to hear the venom in their voices. But when I reached the elevator, I caught their whispers echoing behind me. "We'll make him hand it over," Liam said. "Yeah," Noah whispered, "he'll fold. He always does." Grace scoffed, "We'll corner him. He'll give in." Victoria's voice came last, low and sharp. "He'll give us the money willingly. One way or another." My chest tightened as the elevator doors closed. I didn't feel like a millionaire, I felt like prey again. When I finally got outside, the cold air slapped my face. I tried to steady my breathing, but the feeling of their hands, their voices, their fake smiles clung to me like shadows. By the time I reached my small apartment, the sun had already dipped. I locked the door and leaned against it. "What am I supposed to do?" I whispered. Silence answered. I dropped into my chair and saw the envelope I'd shoved into my bag earlier. Grandpa's handwriting covered the front. "Do not open until they show their true selves." A shiver crawled up my spine. "Well," I whispered, "they showed me." My fingers shook as I opened the flap. Inside was a folded letter and a small item taped inside. My breath caught. "Grandpa, what did you want me to see?" I stared at it, frozen, replaying my cousin's words, their fake smiles, and the threats hiding behind everything they said. "They don't want me," I muttered. "They want the money." Saying it out loud made everything sink deeper. I rubbed my face. Family shouldn't feel like danger. I finally opened the letter, expecting answers, but all I saw was one line: "Wait until the moment is right. The truth will protect you." Below it, taped to the page, was a small USB drive. My stomach dropped. "The truth?" I whispered. "About what?" I stared at the tiny device, feeling its weight even though it barely weighed anything. My room suddenly felt colder, like Grandpa's warning was echoing off the walls. Why would I need protection from my own cousins? I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying their voices, their smiles, and the pressure of Liam's grip. Money didn't change them, it exposed them. And for the first time, I realized Grandpa knew this day was coming long before I did. The next morning, I barely had time to breathe before a knock hit my door. I opened it and found Liam holding a bottle of wine, grinning like he owned the place. Noah stood behind him with 2 plastic cups, and Grace leaned against the wall, playing with her hair. "Surprised?" Liam said. "We thought we'd spend time together. Family stuff." I stepped back. "Why?" Grace slid past me. "Because we love you, Ethan. Don't be weird." Noah chuckled. "Yeah, man. We're cool now. Yesterday was just emotional." They walked into my living room like it belonged to them. Liam popped the bottle open and poured wine into the cups. "Let's toast," he said. I didn't reach for mine. "What are you all doing?" Grace sat on my couch and crossed her legs. "Relax. We just want to talk." Noah handed me a cup anyway. "Don't act like a stranger." I set it on the table. "I don't buy this." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Buy what?" "This sudden kindness." Grace laughed. "You think we're pretending?" Noah smirked at her. "He's paranoid now." I clenched my jaw. "Just say what you came for." Liam's smile dropped. "Fine. Share fairly." I blinked. "What?" "You heard me," he said. "We grew up struggling. We suffered more than you. So split the money." Grace leaned forward. "It's the right thing to do, Ethan." Noah jabbed a finger at me. "Don't act like the innocent one. You owe us." "I owe you nothing," I said. Noah muttered, "Selfish idiot." My chest tightened. "Excuse me?" Grace rolled her eyes. "Don't start crying." Liam stood, his voice low. "If you don't share, your life will get very hard." I took a step back. "Is that a threat?" He shrugged. "A warning." They started moving around my living room, touching things, opening drawers like they were inspecting property. "Stop," I said. Noah ignored me. "Nice laptop? Must be new." Grace opened my kitchen cabinet. "You even stocked good food already. Wow, money really changes people." I raised my voice. "Get out." Liam laughed. "Relax. We're family." "No," I said, "you're trespassing." Noah slammed a drawer. "Don't talk to us like we're criminals." Grace snapped, "You're acting like you're better than us." I shouted, "I never said that." "Your face says it," Noah barked. Liam stepped toward me. "Share. That's all we want." I said no. He glared at me, the same way he did when we were kids, and he cornered me behind the shed. "You're making a mistake." My hands shook. My heart pounded. Every lie, every fake smile from them came crashing down on me, and something inside finally snapped. "I'm done," I whispered. I grabbed the envelope Grandpa left, the one I'd been too scared to open. Their voices blurred as I tore it open. "What's that?" Grace asked. "None of your business," I said. I pulled out the letter. Grandpa's handwriting stared back at me. "They will destroy each other if you give them the truth." Below it was a USB drive, small and cold in my fingers. Liam frowned. What truth? I closed my hand around it. You'll see. For the first time, they stopped talking. 3 pairs of eyes watched me, and for once, they looked afraid. Get out, I said again. This time, they listened. They backed toward the door, whispering among themselves. My pulse raced, but a strange calm settled over me. I didn't know what Grandpa hid on the USB, but I felt it was the one thing that could finally turn everything in my favor from this moment forward. I sat on the edge of my bed with the USB in my hand. All right, Grandpa, I whispered, whatever this is. I hope it helps. My fingers shook as I plugged it into my laptop. The screen flickered, then a video popped up, Grandpa, sitting in his old leather chair. Ethan, he said, voice calm but tired. If you're watching this, then things have unfolded exactly as I feared. I leaned closer, my heart pounding. He continued, I know you're hurting. I know they're showing their true selves. I'm sorry you had to face this alone. Grandpa, I whispered. He sighed in the video. You're probably confused about the money. So let me make this clear. The $35 million didn't come from my business. It came from a trust set aside by your biological father. I froze. My what? Grandpa raised a hand. Yes, Ethan. Your biological father. A man your cousins know nothing about. He was a brilliant but troubled man. He loved you, even if he couldn't stay. Before he disappeared, he left everything he had in a trust under my care, with one promise, that the money would be yours when you came of age. I covered my mouth. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't tell you because I knew your cousins would use it against you, he said. Their mother, she has always been hungry for power. She raised them with the same hunger. I protected you from it as long as I could. I swallowed hard. Grandpa, I don't understand what any of this changes. He leaned in closer to the camera. It changes everything. And you need to hear the rest. Ethan, one of your cousins is not biologically related to the Ward family. My breath caught. What? Who? Grandpa held up a hand. I won't say which one. I refuse to be the one who tears them apart. But I've left the information with you because I know what they're capable of once money is involved. I leave the choice in your hands, Ethan. Whether to reveal it or not. I shook my head. You want me to decide who gets destroyed? Grandpa's eyes softened. No. I want you to decide what peace looks like for you. There is a difference between revenge and truth. Revenge is when you strike first. Truth is when you simply stop protecting the people who hurt you. I whispered, they'll tear each other apart. He nodded. They will. I've watched them fight over scraps their whole lives. Imagine what they'll do when they learn someone isn't blood. You won't have to raise a hand. I clenched my fists. I don't want to be like them. That's exactly why you're the heir, he replied. You have a good heart. You always did. I chose you because you never let bitterness harden you, even when they mocked you. Even when Victoria treated you like a burden. I saw you stay kind. I blinked hard, fighting tears. Grandpa, I miss you. He smiled sadly. I miss you too, boy. But listen to me. Do not let them break you. Do not let them guilt you. And do not let them twist this into something ugly. The truth is simple. The money is yours by right, not luck. Your father wanted you to have a life he couldn't give. I whispered, what do I do now? Grandpa leaned back. Ethan, you don't need revenge. The truth is enough. The moment you reveal even a fraction of what I've told you, they'll turn on each other. They will show the world who they truly are. And you will finally be free. I stared at the screen as he continued, the decision is yours. I trust you more than anyone. Use this truth with wisdom. Or don't use it at all. Either way, remember this, you are not alone. I believed in you. I still do. He gave one final nod. Stay strong, Ethan. You're more than they ever allowed you to be. The video ended. I sat frozen, staring at the blank screen. My chest felt tight, my pulse loud in my ears. One of them isn't blood, I whispered. The words tasted dangerous. This secret could destroy everything, or save me. I looked at the USB still glowing in my laptop. Grandpa, I muttered, what exactly did you leave me holding? I spent the whole night replaying Grandpa's words, and by morning, my mind was set. I wasn't going to run. I wasn't going to hide. I was going to end this in one move. So I texted each of them the same message, dinner at my place tonight. Peace talk. At exactly 7, the knock came. When I opened the door, they all stood there dressed like royalty. Liam wore a suit. Noah had a gold watch I'd never seen. Grace showed up in heels like she was meeting a billionaire investor. Victoria came in a fur coat, chin high, eyes colder than ice. Liam smirked. So the millionaire finally wants to talk. I forced a smile. Come in. Noah walked past me and muttered, about time you acted mature. Grace gave me a kiss on the cheek. We knew you'd come around. Victoria didn't bother pretending. Let's settle this quickly. They sat at the table, staring at me like I was a puzzle they wanted to dismantle. My heart thumped, but I kept my voice steady. Before dinner, I said, I need to tell you something Grandpa left for me. Their heads snapped up. Victoria's voice sharpened. What do you mean, left for you? He already gave you everything. Not everything, I replied. He left me a final message. On a USB. Their eyes widened, exactly what I expected. Liam leaned forward. What message? Yeah, Noah said. What else could he possibly have to say? Grace tapped her nails on the table. If this is another surprise, you need to be clear. Victoria folded her arms. Play it. I will, I said, but first I'm going to read you one line. The room went still. I held their gaze. Grandpa said, one of you has no right to the ward name. The reaction was instant. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Liam snapped. Noah pointed at him. It's obviously you. You're the one who looks nothing like the rest of us. Liam shot up. Shut up, Noah. You've been insecure your whole life, don't take it out on me. Grace stood too. Both of you stop. Grandpa loved me. He wouldn't say that about me. Noah barked a laugh. Please. You always look different. Everyone said it. Grace's face twisted. Who said that? I did, Noah said. Since we were kids. Liam clapped once. So it's Grace. Makes sense. Grace shoved him. Don't touch me. Victoria slammed her hand on the table. Enough. This is ridiculous. Nobody in this family is adopted. Are you sure? Grace hissed. Victoria stiffened. Yes. Because Grandpa wasn't, Grace said. And if he said someone isn't a ward, maybe he meant me. And maybe you knew. Grace, Victoria whispered, stop talking. No, Grace snapped. Tell me the truth, Mum. Why did Grandpa say that? What are you hiding? Victoria's face went pale. Liam scoffed. Look at her. She knows something. Noah grabbed the edge of the table. So which one of us is the fraud? I lifted my hands. I never said someone was adopted. I just told you exactly what Grandpa said. And that's supposed to make us feel better? Liam yelled. Grace rounded on Victoria again. Answer me. Victoria shook her head. This is madness. Your grandfather was old. He was confused. Noah pointed at her. You're lying. Every time money is involved, you get shaky. Why is this different? I'm not lying, she said, voice cracking. Liam leaned close to her. Then swear it. Victoria's eyes darted around the room. I don't have to swear anything. Grace gasped. Oh my God. It is me. No. Victoria cried. Then who? Grace screamed. Victoria covered her mouth with both hands and sobbed. They forgot I existed. The room erupted into shouting, accusations, tears, curses, everything ugly they'd kept buried for years. Liam blamed Noah. Noah blamed Grace. Grace blamed Victoria. Victoria crumbled. I watched them tear each other apart without needing to say another word. I didn't feel powerful. I didn't feel proud. I just felt done. Grandpa was right. All I had to do was tell the truth. And they'd destroy themselves. The next few days felt like watching a house collapse room by room while I stood outside listening to every scream. Liam called me first. He said, Noah's hiding something, and I'm going to prove it. I asked, how? He replied, I hired someone who knows how to dig. I told him he was insane, but he hung up before I finished the sentence. 2 hours later, Noah called me instead. He whispered, Liam's trying to ruin me, but I won't let him. I asked what he was talking about. He said, Grace knows something, and I'm going to find out. Then he hung up too. By evening, Grace showed up at my door with tears in her eyes. She said, my whole life is a lie because of her. I asked, because of who? She snapped, my mother. She knows exactly what Grandpa meant, and she won't tell me. I stepped aside and let her in, but she paced instead of sitting. She said, I swear I'll tear this family apart until someone gives me the truth. I whispered, Grace, you're already doing that. She glared at me like I had insulted her personally. Then she stormed out without another word. The next morning, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Unknown numbers. Unknown voices. One man said, your cousins contacted me about opportunities. I said, I'm not interested. He replied, they're desperate. That means you're vulnerable. I hung up instantly. Another call came minutes later. A woman said, Noah wants leverage. Liam wants revenge. Grace wants answers. I asked, why are you calling me? She said, because they won't stop until they break each other, or you. I slammed the phone down and whispered, what have I started? I felt a chill crawl through me. Not from fear, from understanding. They didn't care about family. They cared about ownership, power, status, control. I whispered, "You were right, Grandpa." My cousins weren't fighting for truth. They were fighting for dominance. They were loud. I was silent. And I finally saw the difference. Silence wasn't weakness. It was protection. It was the one thing they never learned. I sat on my couch and whispered, "This is why he chose me." Later that night, Liam called again, shouting before I even said hello. He yelled, "Noah's lying. The investigator found nothing." I said, "Leave me out of it." He growled, "You started this, Ethan." I replied, "I only told the truth." He cursed and hung up. Minutes later, Noah called again. He said, "Grace attacked me. She thinks I'm the one." I rubbed my face. "I'm not your referee." He snapped, "You're the reason everything is falling apart." I whispered, "No. Your actions did that." He cursed and hung up too. Grace texted next, "Tell me the truth or I'm done with all of them." I stared at the message and typed, "The truth is already ripping you apart." She replied, "I deserve answers." I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. Instead, I sat in the dark and listened to the silence. For the first time, the quiet felt warm instead of cold. Maybe Grandpa knew this moment would come long before I did. Maybe he understood that truth hurts louder than any lie. And now I was watching that truth explode inside my family. I whispered, "Blood isn't always blood, Grandpa. Sometimes silence is the only thing holding everything together. And when the silence breaks, everything else does too." I finally understood why he trusted me and no one else. Because I saw what they couldn't see about themselves. They finally agreed to meet again after days of screaming, spying, and accusing each other of every sin imaginable. When I walked into the room, all three of them stared at me like I was holding a loaded weapon. Maybe I was. I set the envelopes on the table and said, "Grandpa left these. 3 tests. 1 truth." Nobody breathed. Liam shifted first, whispering, "So this is real?" I nodded. He did these before he died. It felt heavier than anything else. Noah leaned back and muttered, "This is insane." Grace crossed her arms and said, "Just open them." Victoria, who stood behind them like a shadow, whispered, "Do we really want this?" I said, "Grandpa wanted you to choose. Truth or peace." Liam scoffed. "Peace is dead." Noah nodded. "Truth then." Grace glared at both of them. "You two better pray it's not you." I pushed the envelopes forward and said, "Pick who opens theirs first." No one moved for several long seconds. Finally Liam grabbed his envelope and said, "Fine. I'll go first." His hands shook even though he tried to hide it. Noah muttered, "Drama queen," but his voice cracked. Grace stared at the floor. I watched Liam tear the seal, unfold the paper, and freeze. "It's not me," he said, almost laughing. Noah snatched his envelope next. "Good. Let's get this over with." He opened his, eyes darting fast, then he whispered, "It's not me either." Grace didn't even breathe after that. Grace whispered, "Then it's me." Victoria stepped forward quickly and said, "No, Grace, don't say that." Grace shot back, "You knew something. You always knew." I placed the last envelope between them. "Only one way to know," I said. Grace grabbed it with shaking fingers. "If Grandpa wrote this, then I'll read it." She tore it open, stared at the paper, and let out a broken sound. "It's me," she said. "I'm not a ward." The room collapsed into silence around us. Victoria screamed, "No. This is wrong." Grace dropped the paper. "You lied to me," she shouted. "My whole life, Mum. My whole life." Liam slammed his fist on the table. "So all this time, we treated you like family," Noah cut him off. "Don't act innocent. You bullied her more than anyone." Grace lunged at him. "Shut up. Both of you." Victoria cried, "Stop fighting." Noah yelled, "She's not even blood." Grace screamed, "Neither are you emotionally." The chaos drowned everything else. I stepped back while the shouting grew louder. Liam yelled, "She manipulated us." Noah shouted, "Your mum did." Grace cried, "I trusted you all." Victoria begged, "Please, please stop." Nobody listened. I said softly, "This is why Grandpa didn't tell you himself." They didn't even hear me. Liam pointed at Grace. "She doesn't belong here." Grace spat, "I never belonged anywhere." Noah said, "Don't blame us." Grace screamed, "Who else do I blame?" The room felt like it was tearing apart. I watched them circle each other like enemies. Liam shouted, "This changes everything." Noah snapped, "We were fooled." Grace sobbed, "I never asked for this." Victoria tried to reach her. "Grace, please." Grace jerked away. "Don't touch me." Liam said, "Grandpa betrayed us." I answered, "He protected the truth." Noah yelled, "You did this, Ethan." I shook my head. I only gave you what you asked for. Grace whispered, truth hurts more than lies. And none of them knew how to face. Watching them implode felt like justice and heartbreak mixed together. I said, this was always inside you. Nobody looked at me. They were too busy tearing into each other to remember I existed. Grace sobbed in the corner. Liam and Noah shouted until their faces turned red. Victoria knelt, begging all of them to stop. I whispered, now you know how I felt my entire life. And for once, they finally listened to my voice then. Everything collapsed faster than I imagined, and I heard about it all through phone calls that were never meant for me. Grace called first, her voice shaking as she said, I moved out, Ethan. I asked, where did you go? She answered, anywhere but here. They won't stop staring at me like I'm a stranger. I whispered, I'm sorry. She said, don't be. You didn't do this. Then she hung up. An hour later Noah called, sounding furious. He said, I'm suing Liam. I asked, why now? Noah growled, because he told the investigator I'm unstable, and now everyone thinks I forged something. I'm done protecting him. I said, you two were always close. He snapped, not anymore, and ended the call. By evening Liam showed up outside my building, pacing like a storm. When I opened the door he said, your aunt lied to us our whole lives. I asked, what did she say? He clenched his jaw. She admitted she hid things. I told her she's paying for this. I stepped back. You threatened her? He said, she deserves worse, and walked away without letting me respond. I sat alone that night, listening to the chaos echo through the walls of my thoughts. I whispered, Grandpa, you knew this was coming. The truth had cracked them open in ways I couldn't ever fix. They weren't united anymore. They weren't even family. They were enemies trapped in the same sinking ship, each one blaming the others for the hole in the floor. The next morning Victoria called me. Her voice trembled as she said, Ethan, can we talk? I sighed. About what? She answered, Liam blames me for everything. Noah blames me. Grace won't look at me. Please, help me. I closed my eyes. I can't fix this, I said. She begged, you must have something else. Another letter. Another secret. I whispered, there's nothing left. She cried, then what do I do? I said, tell them the truth. All of it. She hung up without thanking me. Later that day Noah called again. Liam's lawyer contacted me, he said. He's really doing this. I replied, you both are. He muttered, this is your fault. I said, Noah, you chose this war. He yelled, you lit the match. I whispered, you poured the fuel, and he hung up. By evening Grace texted me, I can't believe everything is gone. I asked, what do you mean? She replied, our family. It's dead. I didn't know how to answer her. I felt strangely calm while everything around me fell apart. I stood in the center of the storm, untouched, the only person not drowning in the wreckage. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired. I whispered, Grandpa, the truth was enough. You were right. Revenge had never been necessary. They destroyed themselves with greed, pride, fear, and every secret they buried under their perfect image. But watching them crumble hurt me more than I expected. I didn't want them ruined. I never wanted that. I just wanted a place in their world. A seat at the table. A reason to believe I belonged with them. Now I understood something painful, I never did. And the truth didn't break them. It only showed who they always were. I sat in the quiet and let the truth settle around me like dust in an empty room. I whispered to myself that I would not repeat their mistakes. I would build a life that did not depend on broken promises or wounded pride. I would finally choose myself at last. When the inheritance finally transferred, Mr. Hale called me and said, it's done, Ethan. Everything is officially yours. I didn't feel victorious. I just said, thank you, and hung up. I sat on my couch and whispered, what do I do with all this now? The answer came to me slowly, quietly, peace. I called Liam first. He didn't even say hello before he asked, so how much are you giving us? I replied, nothing. He growled, you're punishing us? I shook my head even though he couldn't see it. I'm protecting myself. He said, you're making a mistake, and ended the call. Noah called next. You owe us, he said. I replied, I owe myself more. He muttered, Grandpa would be disappointed. I answered, no, he'd be relieved, and he hung up without another word. Victoria texted me, think carefully. I responded, I already have. I sat in the stillness of my apartment and said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm choosing me. That was the first moment I felt free. The next day, I drove to a different city, quiet, calm, nothing like the chaos I grew up in. I toured a small flat overlooking a narrow street lined with cafes. The landlord asked, do you like it? I said, it feels like somewhere I can breathe. He handed me the keys. As I stood in the empty room, sunlight spilling across the floor, I whispered, "This is mine. My life starts here." No yelling. No accusations. No pretending to be less than I am. Just me. Before unpacking, I texted Grace. I wrote, "You deserve the truth about your real father. And you're more than anyone's bloodline." I hovered for a second, then pressed send. Minutes later she replied, "Thank you, Ethan. For everything. I'm sorry for all of it." It was the first real human word any of them had given me. I set my phone down and walked to the window. "This is my choice," I said softly. Not revenge. Not anger. Just peace. For the first time in my life, the world felt quiet enough for me to hear my own heartbeat, and it finally sounded like freedom. I stood in front of Grandpa's grave months later, hands in my pockets, the wind cold enough to sting. I whispered, "Hey, Grandpa, I'm back." My voice shook a little. "I wish you could answer me, but I guess I'll do the talking like always." I looked at the stone and said, "You were right about everything." I let out a small breath. "I didn't believe you at first. I didn't think people who shared my blood could turn that cruel. But you saw it long before I did." I knelt down and brushed a leaf away. Liam never apologized. Not once. Last I heard, he lost his job after yelling at his boss. He called me a month ago saying, "You ruined my life." I told him, "You did that yourself," and he hung up. I shook my head. He still doesn't get it. I leaned closer and whispered, "Noah isn't doing well either. He gambled trying to fix his reputation. Now he's drowning in debt. He called me too and said, 'You could help me.' I told him, 'You only call when you want something.' He didn't deny it. He just sighed and ended the call." I looked up at the sky. Grace left the country. She emailed me once. She said, "I need to find myself, and honestly, Grandpa, I think she will." She was the only one who ever showed a real emotion at the end. I hope she finds peace. She deserves at least that. I touched the top of the gravestone gently. Victoria is, well, she's living in shame now. I ran into someone from her neighborhood who told me she barely leaves the house. Maybe she's finally facing the truth she hid for years. Maybe she's just scared of herself. I sat down in the grass. "But don't worry. I'm okay. Better than okay." I smiled a little. My new life is quiet. Calm. I wake up without fear. I make my own breakfast without worrying someone will insult me before noon. I take walks. I read. I meet people who don't try to take something from me. I laughed softly. And guess what? I didn't change. Not even with the money. I didn't buy a mansion or a sports car. I didn't throw parties. I just lived. You knew that would happen, huh? I looked at the stone like he was nodding back at me. I whispered, "Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I gave them the money." I shook my head slowly. It wouldn't have saved them. It would have fed their worst parts. You knew that better than anyone. The cemetery was quiet except for the wind, and I let myself breathe in that silence. You always said truth is heavier than gold. I didn't understand until everything fell apart. They weren't destroyed by the money. They were destroyed by what they were willing to become to get it. I placed my hand flat on the cold stone. "I finally understand your real message. The one you tried to teach me my whole life." I closed my eyes and said it out loud so he could hear it, wherever he was. Not everyone deserves a place in your heart, even if they share your name. The words sank into the air like a final blessing. I stood up slowly. "Thank you for choosing me, Grandpa. Not for the money. For the truth." I brushed the dirt from my knees. I thought losing them would break me, but letting go saved me instead. I turned to leave and whispered, "I'm stronger now. Lighter. Free. Just like you wanted." As I walked away from the grave, the wind felt warmer, almost gentle, like he was telling me goodbye. And for the first time in my life, I walked toward a future that finally belonged to me.